Hello and welcome back. We are once again continuing on with our Cadian Imperial Guard squad here. Last time we did a little bit of a nice kind of like melta effect on this plasma gun here, kind of on the end. It looks pretty nice. I'm pretty impressed with it. I'm impressed with myself personally. This time we're going to be doing some basing, and it's going to be kind of a new way of doing it for me, so it may look horrible to start with, but we're going to roll the dice on that. And before we do that, we just have a little bit of finishing touches to clean up with the boots. We've done all of the leather, we just need to do kind of all of the black still. So of course we're going to be using our Abaddon Black, kind of our classic go-to. I'm going to be using a size 0 brush. We've kind of done a majority of this paint job already using kind of a size 2, but as we go into a lot of the smaller details, kind of the finer points, we're going to be switching kind of more to this size 0. So again, some of these guys are actually done, boots wise at least, but I think we have 2 or 3 that just need a quick touch-up job. And as you've seen before, or if you're tuning into this series kind of brand new, maybe you haven't seen, we generally just want to do kind of the toe and heel of the boots, and then that middle portion is what we used the kind of more brown color for, just to give us a little bit of kind of variation in our paint job, make it just a little bit more visually interesting. And as always, I have to apologize for getting into these wacky angles. I'm just trying to reach all of these little odds and ends, these kind of strange spaces. And unfortunately, the camera does not like to kind of follow along sometimes. So just kind of imagine whenever I get to a spot that's out of sight, and we'll go from there. I'm not doing anything too crazy though. We are just cleaning up pretty much what we've already been working on. And as always, I don't have nearly enough paint on my palette, so let me apply a little bit more. Of course, adding a little bit of water mixed in just to make sure we don't get any weird layering effects. Make sure our paint is nice and smoothly applied. Nice thin layers, always. That is what we will always be aiming for. And that looks pretty decent, especially once we get the basing kind of on here. It's going to be even more invisible to us. It's going to be covered up and caked on with mud. I've also got another secret little basing material we're going to be using this time, which I've never used before. I'll showcase it in just a minute once we're finished. I don't want to give it away just yet. I think I might have mentioned it in one of the previous videos, so you may have already been spoiled. I am sorry for that if I did, but I'm also on like part 7 or something of this series, and I kind of run out of things to talk about, so I'm sure I let it slip earlier. If not, though, we are hopefully in for a good surprise. I was just doing a little bit of shopping on Amazon. I was actually looking for base paints, because I only have like 1 or 2 that I really like, and I figured I'd be in the market for some more. And I found some materials that were pretty cheap. I don't recognize the brand. Again, I'll show it in just a minute. But I do know that Army Painter has a lot of basing stuff, both with kind of the paints themselves. Also, they have like little miniature, I don't know what you call them, like tiny rocks and pebbles that you can add into your terrain. They look pretty nice. I don't know how they are price-wise. I didn't really look into them too much, but I have seen people use them before. I think at some point in the future I do want to kind of get myself some of those. I'm sure there's some other brands out there that also do kind of terrain, but Army Painter seems to be kind of the first one that really popped up when I started looking. So if you're interested in something like that, definitely look around in their catalog. And maybe in the future we'll kind of showcase whatever they have on offer. But unfortunately, I didn't pick up any of those just yet. And as always, we want to make sure we get everything here. So we want to get the back and the bottom of the boots as well. It's a very easy to miss, kind of tricky spot. This guy's kind of unique. Out of the 5 models we have, I think this guy has like a little bit of like an explosion going off on the back there. Maybe like mud is coming up, or it's like shrapnel from a grenade or something. I'm not really sure. So maybe we'll color that in later. But for now, we're just going to see how it kind of blends in once we get our texture paint on, and if it's even noticeable at all, really. I don't want to spend 20 minutes painting it with cool effects just for it to get covered up by mud, right? Be kind of silly of me. I also think it's October. I don't really know anything like spooky Warhammer wise. I know they have like a couple of like spooky themed novels, but in terms of like models themselves, I can't really think of anything. Maybe like Night Haunters, if you go like Chaos, but I don't know. So if you guys have any kind of suggestions for how we could do like a spooky paint theme, please let me know in the comments. I definitely want to do that while we are still in October. Anyway, moving on, we're going to be using a technical paint here. There's tons of brands. I just happen to have the Citadel mud color here. We are going to be using pretty beaten down old brush for this. You don't want to use a new brush, it'll ruin it. If you don't clean it off properly, at least. I've seen some that have survived. Majority of mine don't really survive terrain paints too well. But we're just going to liberally apply this all over our base here. We're going to kind of try to avoid the rim if we can. Sometimes it's pretty hard, especially with these more beaten up brushes. They kind of have a mind of their own. Don't worry about covering the boots up. It kind of makes it a little bit more realistic. So we will kind of let that happen and not worry about it too much. But you can see real quickly that gives us kind of a nice base to play with. And now we're going to come in right before this dries. Hopefully we can beat it. We're going to use this Stonehaven Miniatures grass. I've never used this stuff before. And actually this bag is still sealed. Oh, I'm sure this just spilled everywhere. And I'm actually going to move my stuff around here so that I can apply this on our palette, because I don't want grass going all over my desk here. And I'm just going to kind of sprinkle this on. I know you kind of can't see it because my hand's in the way, but I promise I'll move in a second. I'm just kind of liberally letting this all go all over where we just painted. And actually I'll even try to spread that out a little bit if we can. It's kind of caked in there, but we'll be a little bit liberal with it. And some of it kind of flakes off really quickly, as you can tell. Some of it's stuck in. So maybe we'll come back around with some glue or something in the future and fix that. I just don't have any right now, so we're kind of relying on our paint itself to hold that on there, which is fine. I think that kind of gives a good like dying kind of dead field vibe, like a nice meadow that was torn apart by landmines and shrapnel and artillery, if you want to imagine it that way. But as I cover my hand in paint here, that's fine. I think I have a towel somewhere around here. That's why you close your paint pots, people. Unfortunately, that is going to be our first casualty, where I spill something on myself. It won't be the last, though, I promise. We'll do that many more times in the future. We're going to move on to our next model, which is this little Melta gun guy. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just going to go ahead, use our dirty, old, messed up brush, and we'll actually see if we can't get just a little bit more. So I'm not going to put it on my palette. I'm just going to go directly onto the base of our model here and just really cake it on, let it take over the front of that boot because we didn't paint it enough, evidently. It's fine. Everything's fine. But the grass itself, I feel like you really want to use tweezers to apply if you want to be, much more neat and in control of it. And I don't know if I said it already, but I just don't have any. So that's why I'm not doing that. I am a non-prepared man, and I feel like I have failed you guys, but we'll rock forward with what we got. Again, just get some of this grass out of here, and you might not be able to see this too well, but I just want to sprinkle it on. Nothing too crazy. You can kind of see it's just piling up on there. And keep turning your guy around. Try to do it from higher up. That way you can kind of see it, I guess. And nothing too crazy. Kind of wipe it off your edges, I guess, would be nice. But I think we even did a better job on this time, since our paint was a little bit more wet. It kind of held more grass on there. But there you are. It almost gives me like a rice paddy kind of vibe, like it's like mostly drained out. Something you see in like a Vietnam film or something. I don't know. Maybe that's not the vibe you're getting, but that's just kind of what it looks like to me. But I'm not a very imaginative person, so that's just what instantly comes to mind. And we'll wipe a little bit of this off. I feel like last time it was overkill. Do the exact same thing though. Rinse and repeat. I'm sorry if this is kind of boring. But we are, batch painting 5 dudes who are roughly the exact same. So we're going to keep going with it. I'm liking the outcome we're getting though, so I'm not changing anything up. We're doing the exact same thing. I'm reaching into my magic bag of grass here. And again, just get a little bit out. It's such a weird texture. Like, I don't really know how to describe it. Like, it likes to clump together naturally with it, like, going into your fingers. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys ever played with, like, moon sand or, like, kinetic sand as a kid. But it has, like, that kind of stickiness to it, almost. Like, it wants to be in a clump, if that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. But there we are. There's our third base done. Nice and easy. Nothing too crazy. If you're looking for an easy way to do bases, this is it. It's minimal effort for, maximum gain. And I'm a little bit sad. I actually don't have any of the Army Painter stuff. Because I feel like adding some like pebbles and rocks and stuff in with this would look perfect. So in the future, I think that's definitely something I want to get. And then we'll kind of come back and I'll do like a whole separate video after we finish this series where I add that in. And we'll see if we can't make it look even better. Maybe we'll do some like, mud and water effects using like epoxy and stuff. And we'll just like take these bases to a whole nother level. Maybe. That's if I remember to do it. I have quite a lot of projects planned. And unfortunately, I can't do everything I want to do at the same time. And I'm really sorry. I can't really like showcase this very well. It's just the positioning of everything. But, I'll try to kind of get this a little bit more on camera. I think this is why tweezers would be better as well, so I could do it and you could actually see it. But I'm literally just sprinkling grass onto our base. There's no like crazy tricks or schemes involved in this. It's really straightforward, I promise you. In terms of tutorials, I can't explain it in an easier way. So there you go. That's kind of gonna have to suffice for now until I figure out a better setup to showcase that. And we have one last dude here we have to do, this being our sergeant, which is kind of fitting. He's last, right? Either he's first or he's last, and we didn't do him first, so I figured we'll save him. And I think we have a little bit of time left in this one once I finish this base, so we even like do this guy's weapons maybe real quick, just to kind of knock him out. I'm kind of debating with myself how I want to do the sword and the bolter, because our other weapons are going to be green to match our armor, but I kind of want to keep it like words, the traditional black weapons that I like to do with these guys. So I don't know. We'll figure it out very very shortly, I guess. But one last time, and actually that's way too much grass. I just have such a massive bag of this stuff now, and I thought I was going to use way more. And I'll do it from up high. There we go. I'll even block the light so you can't see it still. I am the worst, I promise. And we're just going to sprinkle that on. I'll turn our little guy around here. I'm literally just dropping grass onto it. That's it. That's as straightforward as I can get. And it's kind of hard to aim when I'm so high up like that, but there you go. And we'll even dump a little bit there on the front. That's our bases done. Let me wipe this off a little bit, and I'll bring all of our guys around so we can really showcase them. But that's what, including our time spent painting the remainder of their boots and whatnot. 15, 16 minutes for 5 bases. That's pretty good. That's really good. And the grass is pretty cheap as well. It was like, I don't know, $5 for a bag of grass that I barely used any of. Again, just to showcase it, just because it was very quick the first time. That's Stonehaven Miniatures. If you just look up terrain grass on Amazon, it should be like the first thing that pops up. Really, really basic stuff, but as you can see, at least in my opinion, I think it's very effective. So there you go. Let me clean off my brush real quick from that mud paint, terrain base, whatever you want to call it, paint, just because I don't want it drying on there. That brush is unfortunately ruined from previous paints, but I still want to be able to use it for our future basing, so I'll try to salvage as much as possible. And don't mind me, I'm just going through my 10 different layers of green paint that I have. We're going back to our Castellan green. This is what we use for all of our Cadian boys. And I'm going to pop this open, and we'll bring out the number 0 brush again. And getting a little bit of water mixed in, we're going to get ready to paint our sergeant's weapons. We are doing it green. I've kind of made my decision in the short amount of time that I had. And I feel like if I don't do it now, I'm just going to debate what color I want it forever. So we're going to dive right in while we have a spare minute or two. And maybe it'll look terrible. Maybe I'll change my mind again. I don't know. Normally, I do these guys' weapons with black, and then I kind of accent all the details and stuff with gold or silver or bronze. But I feel like changing it up a little bit is fun. I think that's kind of the best way to learn, as an artist, is to kind of try new things constantly. And I already have a army of Cadians who look exactly the same. So, changing things up every once in a while really helps break up the monotony. And this is just part of that. The kind of, I guess you would call it like the engine block down here. We're not really going to touch that too much. We're going to end up painting it probably silver. But we do want like the rest of this chainsword to be our green. Now, I think I mentioned it in an earlier video, but the chainswords are really kind of relaxing for me in a weird way. Not so much the sword itself, but the teeth on it. They're super easy to do, and I don't know why. It's just a weird like neurological thing for me. It gives me dopamine to paint them, just because it's so easy to do the teeth, and it's just very relaxing for me for some reason. Maybe some of you guys can resonate with that. I don't know. Maybe that's just a me thing. but I feel like, you know, there's some other weirdo out there who appreciates it as much as I do. So if you do, let me know, please. I feel so alone. No, I don't know. Every once in a while, you know, I enjoy painting Warhammer generally, except for when I'm doing like armor trim. You'll just find something that's just oddly like more enjoyable compared to, you know, the rest of your minis and stuff that you end up working on. Like I'll never say no to painting a Space Marine, but I will especially jump the gun to you know, paint a Cadian, right? Like one of them intrinsically gives me more joy. Are they both fun? Yes. It, you know, understandably so, but Cadians are just a little bit more um, kind of a more memorable experience, I think. There's just much more detail and kind of, you really have to slow down and kind of take your time and fill in all of these little gaps, and it's just a lot of fun. It gets a little bit tedious sometimes, especially when you're doing kind of a bunch of them, but I think generally they are fun. And we're just going to do kind of this front casing with this green, and then the rest we'll do with our silver, just like the bolter. Or sorry, the chainsword. We're painting the bolter currently. So many words in Warhammer. It's like Star Wars, right? Like there's 300 different types of blasters, and eventually they just start molding together. Um, Same thing with our weapons here. There's just so many different kinds, and they're all so unique, but they end up just being called guns, right? It's either a bolter, it's a las gun, a flamer, whatever. But there's like 50 different patterns of each. And we've kind of gone over a couple minutes. That's fine. Next time we'll come back. We'll finish up our weapons. Hopefully we'll get close to finishing our whole squad. Realistically, we're almost done. I promise we're almost done. I know it's kind of the never-ending train here with this, but I'm still having a lot of fun. I hope you guys who are still watching, if you started on part 1, I hope you're also enjoying this. If not, I hope one of my future projects interest you more. As always, I just want to shout out real quick. I have a Patreon. Link is in the description. If you want to support the channel, it really does help me out. But don't feel like you have to. And, you know, I also ask that you guys like, comment, and subscribe. If you do enjoy my content, it does, you know, help me get feedback and also kind of boost my channel statistics, I guess. I don't know. I don't understand the YouTube algorithm, and I won't pretend to. So, other than that, the only thing really I could say is thank you guys very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.